How many times have you listened to someone and thought their idea was, well, that it needed work, or that it simply wasn't worth entertaining, which is why you embarked on a tirade about why your idea was the only one that made sense? It's surprising how many of us have an illusory superiority, which is a belief that our abilities and qualities are generally better than those of others. This cognitive bias often leads us to use reason to downplay other people's ideas and arguments. Not many of us would admit to this, though. Most people would be offended at the mere suggestion that they might need to be more open-minded. Most people are probably not as open-minded as they would like to think. So how can we change that? How can we all become more open-minded? Here to help us with that is Harris. Harris is a writer and clairvoyant from the United Kingdom. He runs a short story website called annexfiction.com. So, hi Harris, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking your time to talk to me. First, I'd like to know, what does keeping an open mind mean to you, personally?
That's a great question, Edwin. And I think personally, for me, open-mindedness is a receptiveness to new ideas. Open-mindedness relates to the way in which people approach the views and knowledge of others. Personally, mindless open-mindedness is what it says on the tin. It's having a hole in your brain that literally lets in other thoughts, mainly the holes being your ears and your eyes. Thoughts come in and your mind isn't literally open, but you can take in those ideas, and you're not closed off to those ideas, which is good to not be closed off to ideas, because otherwise you'd still be a baby of some kind.
Why is it imperative to you to always keep an open mind?
It's another good question, Edwin. I think it's imperative to keep an open mind because that's where empathy lies. That's how we can understand each other, is by being open to others' ideas, other people's experiences, other people's opinions. And we want to change for the better. How can we change unless we accept new ideas that we can incorporate into ourselves? And where will those ideas come from? Probably other people, only other people. So if you don't have an open mind, you're not going to improve. So it's imperative that you have an open mind in order to be more empathetic and to improve yourself.
Can you give me an example of when someone wasn't open-minded toward you, or when people weren't open-minded toward you?
Thanks, Edwin. That's another good question. The weird thing I think about closed-mindedness is it's actually beneficial in a lot of ways. Prejudice is, although bad if it's unfounded, it gives us a baseline in order to make quick decisions. I guess evolutionary, it allows us to not get eaten by wild antelope or bears. But in a social context, it can cause a lot of problems, being judged immediately before you've been seen. From my own personal experience, I've not had that much, or at least without knowing it. I suppose some people maybe judge me without telling me afterwards, which is hurtful, but I get over it. I guess once someone asked if I was a vegan, and I said no, and they said, "Oh, you look a bit like a vegan." Maybe it's because I have longer hair. I don't know. Or from behind, I might look like a woman. maybe a long-haired woman. But uh, I guess being a straight white guy, I don't get judged that I maybe get judged as a straight white guy. I don't know. Um, no, I don't get judged beforehand. Yes, well I do, but it's not that bad. And also you quickly get over it. I think after a couple seconds, people realize that I'm not vegan.
Can you remember a moment when you didn't have an open mind about someone or other people, or a moment in which you struggled to keep an open mind about others? If yes, please describe it.
That's another really good question. Thank you, Edwin. And yes, as I was saying before, I think we all naturally judge people immediately on their first impression. And I think the thing about open-mindedness is not having previous preconceptions, but to be open to changing those preconceptions. Um, so, yes, I've definitely judged people immediately. I think we all do. But I would hope that I've then gone on to change my opinion of them um, quite quickly after that, once I learn more about them, as I'd hope anyone else would. An example of me judging someone and then having my mind changed, I think there was a boy at school who was probably the stupidest boy I've ever met. He was very stupid, just very stupid. I'm not sure how to describe it. He just didn't know anything. And yet one day he challenged me to a game of chess and he beat me. Um, I was humiliated. I'm not very good at chess. In fact, I'm pretty bad. But this boy was better at chess than I was, and I judged him. I thought he was going to be very bad at chess because he was so stupid, just so, just so stupid. But he was very smart when it came to chess. So I was wrong.
When someone criticizes you, how open minded or objective are you toward yourself?
Thanks, Owen. That's another really good question. I've been criticised a handful of times in my life, and I'd like to think that I've listened to their qualms and taken steps to improve myself. Um, I guess if you're closed-minded and someone calls you closed-minded, that's hard to address because you won't hear that criticism in the first place in order to address that criticism because your mind is closed. How can you open your mind when your mind's closed to hearing that you're closed-minded and therefore won't open your mind? But I think in terms of criticisms I've had of myself, yes, I try and um, do open my mind to criticisms of myself and then improve my mind and the criticisms of my mind and myself to open them up to other criticisms of myself. My open-mindedness is a thing I would, yes, try and do for myself when I receive criticisms.
Finally, what do you think people can do to get better at keeping an open mind?
Thanks, Evan. That's another really good, really interesting question. I think that people can get better at keeping an open mind by reading more, uh, watching more, uh, but not simply more other things is a better thing to do. Broaden your horizons. Um, is a weird phrase because your horizon is already, it can't get any broader. How do you broaden a horizon? Doesn't really make sense. But you should travel and meet new people and meet people you wouldn't ordinarily meet, and get out of your comfort zone. Wherever you're comfortable, don't be there. Don't live in a zone where you're comfortable. Listen to other people, new people, different people that you don't know and haven't met before, and genuinely hear what they're trying to say, is good. It's hard. It's hard to respond to so many different opinions and subjective experiences, but we can all try a little better. And I think a great many of the world's problems are caused by closed-mindedness, tribalism, and an us versus them mentality. And if we could all learn to be a little more open-minded, a little more empathetic, then the world could be a little better place.
Thank you so much for that, Harris. If you, dear viewer, liked this interview, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section below and watch this interview series from the start. And remember to subscribe to my channel too. Next Friday, I'll be back with a new Q&A video. Till then, I only want to say 3 things. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and bye for now.